if you were to go talk to one of these extremists and tell them the thing, they would say that you're misinterpreting the Quran.
They would, but one of us would obviously have to be correct. At least in my view. I mean, if there is an actual message there, then one of us has to be wrong. And that's the point I want to bring up, that why isn't that a pamphlet? Well, as we were going through before with the Quran, remember it was revealed over a period of time to a group of individuals living in that time.
Hold on for 1 second. I just got a message on my computer that your computer is about to shut down in 30 minutes to do a tune-up. How do I stop that from happening? Anybody know? Because I'm going to be screwed. What do I need to do? Somebody type it. Yeah, I know. What software is it? It's Windows Explorer. I know. Yeah, press Alt 4. Screen. Is there a cancel button? The window popped up for like 2 seconds, and then it disappeared. Turn the date back to bottom click. Right click what? Yeah, Control Alt Delete. Start, run, shut down. Fuck. Okay, there it is. I found the icon. Okay, there it is. Cancel tune-up. Okay. Basically, to refresh you on my question, why is the Quran necessarily that freaking huge, so prone to misinterpretations? Because there's, everybody's got their own interpretations of the Quran. Why didn't God just say, it's like, listen, here's what I want you to do, here's what I don't want you to do, and it could fit in the shirt of your pocket, so you could just, it's like, hey, I'm not supposed to do this, put it right back in there. Why did Allah not do that?
Well, first of all, I'll also say one more thing, too. The Quran is actually no bigger than the New Testament. And I know my book looks a little bigger, but if you read verse by verse, it's actually not, it's just about as large. Or not even smaller. But anyways, as I was saying, there was a progression here in stages of how the verses were revealed and what they were needed for. And you were going to ask, how come there's so many different interpretations? Well, to be honest with you, in the Muslim community, it's a little different. The primary differences don't actually lie within the misinterpretation of the Quran. If you ask a fanatic what they interpret, and I'm talking about those bloodthirsty that want to go kill people, they're pretty much going to have very similar interpretations because they're looking at it from a very certain exegetical approach. But for the most part, Muslims tend to agree on a lot of what the Quran says, and there's no problem with it. The main problems actually have to do with the history. For instance, with Shia and Sunni, there's a difference between who should be the heir to the caliphate or to the Muslim nations. Of course, the Shia said Imam Ali, and then Sunni say Abu Bakr. And then the other main disagreements come from theology, and even then, there isn't much room for so much disagreement that we look at each other and go, okay, well, you're a heretic. There's a lot of movements within Islam, but we still consider them Islam. And there's a lot of, there are a lot of some heretical sects too that we don't consider Islam because they basically deny the basic foundations of the faith. For instance, there's one sect, God, I can't remember who they are, who actually believe that, for instance, Nation of Islam is not Islam. For instance, they think that there's an extra prophet after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and then they also believe a lot of other weird stuff. But in regards to Islam, so in that sense, there aren't any disagreements really centering around the Quran. It's mainly around theology and actually political history.
Okay. Let's get on to another video. Okay. Who is next? Let's go ahead and click on this guy.
My question is about free speech. DawahFilms in this video, why hate speech should not be free to speak, said this.
As a community, we do not have to
allow for certain groups to lobby in a particular area. We have every right to basically appeal to higher authorities to make sure that this doesn't happen. This is also part of our free speech.
If you look at the First Amendment to the Constitution, you will see, in fact, that he can't do this. The next to last clause in the amendment states explicitly that people have the right to peaceably assemble. It doesn't really matter how hateful a group is. This amendment doesn't have any exceptions for blocking hateful groups from peaceably assembling. So even if you have a group that's extremely hateful or disgusting, like the KKK or Westboro Baptist Church or American Idol contestants, you actually can't block them from assembling. So my question, more broadly speaking, something that we can discuss, is what is the relationship between religion and free speech? Is religion hostile to free speech? Much of the recent debates on YouTube have been ignited by disagreements over free speech. And free speech is also historically very interesting, like of rationality. So how does free speech relate to religion, and are they compatible?
Okay. His volume was really, really low. I'm hoping that you were able to hear him. Did you hear what his question was?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to touch upon. I think it's mainly going to be about clarifying my
First,
views on
for the
free speech.
people that maybe are not able to hear it, could you pretty much explain what you think his question was?
He's basically pointing at a previous video of mine where I had stated that we as a community can get together and basically stop something from happening or prevent something from happening. And then he decided, well, these hate groups or whatever can peaceably assemble. So basically what I got from it was that obviously he was disagreeing with me on that. And I think this is mainly just a question I need to clarify my views on free speech with. Basically, my main concern, especially as a Muslim, is that when it comes down to hate speech, how are we going to protect a minority from sort of propaganda that would eventually lead to violence or the persecution of these individuals by a state or by a majority of people? How do we do this? I mean, for instance, what happened to the Jews in Germany and how people perceive them? And, in Muslims today, we're very much a minority in the West. How can we protect? So this is basically, my concerns were maybe coming from an observation. And what I meant by kind of coming together as a community and trying to prevent certain things is boycotting, telling people, trying to say we won't, shop here if you do this, contacting our congressman, stuff like that. And I don't think that when it comes down to, for instance, the KKK marching through a, black neighborhood, African American neighborhood, I don't consider this a peaceful assembly. I consider this an incitation to violence. This is something like saying, come and attack us. We're here to basically make you mad. And this is basically disturbing the peace, in my opinion. I don't think these sort of things should be allowed. I'm not saying that the KKK can't go somewhere and assemble and preach their ideas or whatever, but to go in and provoke people, I think that is not in any sense peaceful. So I mean, I don't think people always tell me, well, you don't have the right not to be offended. Well, yes, I do. In many cases, I do. For instance, you do not have the right to come into my house and insult my family, and you don't have a right for me to. I'm not obliged to provide a forum to you. I mean, people think that somehow they I have to provide them a forum. I don't have to. If I run a business, I don't have to provide you with.
Nobody's coming into your house. Nobody's coming into your business. Somebody is just. I know, but in my opinion, I can't let you use that example, and I'll tell you why.